Welcome back to our channel. We're thrilled to have you with us for another deep dive into a pivotal moment of history. Today, we're asking a thought-provoking, albeit chilling question. What if an ordinary day at school turned into your worst nightmare? We're going to explore this unsettling query through the lens of a tragic event that changed the face of American education forever. As we delve into this topic, we want to remind you that this video isn't for sensationalizing a heinous act, but for understanding its impact and what we can learn from it. Before we start, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment. Your engagement helps us create more content for you. Now let's journey back to a day that shook not only America, but the entire world. What if an ordinary day at school turned into your worst nightmare? It's a question that no one would want to entertain. Yet it became a shocking reality on April 20th, 1999, at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. A day that started as just another Tuesday in America's heartland spiraled into a terrifying moment of violence and terror that would reverberate through the nation's collective consciousness for years to come. The Columbine High School Massacre, as it came to be known, marked one of the darkest chapters in American history. It was a day that saw two students, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, transform their school into a war zone. This isn't the time to dive deep into their lives, their motivations, or the chilling details of their plot. That will come later. For now, it's enough to say that their actions sent shockwaves through the nation, leaving an indelible scar on the American psyche. In the aftermath of the massacre, America was left grappling with a profound sense of loss and a myriad of unanswered questions. How could such a tragedy occur in a place meant for learning and growth? How could two young men, barely out of childhood themselves, carry out such a horrific act? And perhaps most importantly, how could we, as a society, prevent such a tragedy from happening again? The significance of the Columbine High School Massacre cannot be overstated. It was a pivotal moment that forever changed the way we view safety in schools and sparked a nationwide debate on issues ranging from gun control to mental health. It was a tragedy that forced us to confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the most dangerous threats can come from within our own communities. On that fateful day, an ordinary high school in Littleton, Colorado, became the backdrop for one of the deadliest school shootings in American history. This was the day that shook America, a day that we, as a nation, continue to remember and learn from. Who were Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, the young men behind this horrifying act? Born in 1981, Eric Harris was a computer whiz with a knack for technical things. His family moved around due to his father's military career, landing in Littleton, Colorado when Eric was in high school. He was described as smart but introverted, and his online activities revealed a darker side, filled with violent fantasies and rage. Dylan Klebold, born the same year, was a fellow student at Columbine High School. He was a bright kid with a love for baseball, computers, and video production. His parents were educated and supportive, but beneath the surface, Dylan was battling feelings of depression and isolation. Eric and Dylan found companionship in each other, a bond that would ultimately prove destructive. They were both part of the Trenchcoat Mafia, a group of outcasts at Columbine who wore black trench coats. They weren't popular, but they weren't completely isolated either. They had friends and took part in school plays, video productions, and other activities. However, there were signs of what was to come. Eric and Dylan created a violent video for a school project, a chilling precursor of the real-life violence they would unleash. They were arrested for breaking into a van and stealing electronic equipment, but the incident was dismissed as a teenage prank rather than a serious warning sign. They spent countless hours playing violent video games, and their online posts became increasingly dark and violent. Eric's journal entries showed a deep-seated anger and a desire for revenge, while Dylan's writings revealed suicidal thoughts. In the year leading up to the attack, they began acquiring weapons illegally and making homemade bombs. They meticulously planned their attack, documenting their plans and motives in a series of videos now known as the basement tapes. These two students, seemingly ordinary, would go on to commit an act of violence that would shock the nation. How did April 20th, 1999 unfold? A morning like any other, students filing into Columbine High School, the hum of routine disrupted only by the arrival of two students, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. They were not there for class. They were there to execute a plan, a plot they had been meticulously crafting for over a year. The initial moments were marked by confusion. It was around 11:19 a.m. when the first reports of gunfire echoed through the school. Students and staff alike grappled with the reality, some mistaking the gunshots for an ill-conceived prank or a science experiment gone wrong. But as the severity of the situation dawned, the school's hallways transformed from corridors of learning into pathways of fear. In classrooms, teachers became protectors, ushering students under desks and into closets, barricading doors with anything they could find. Students huddled together, some whispering prayers, others sending hurried text messages to loved ones. The school's library became the epicenter of the attack, a place where many students would experience their final moments. Outside the school, law enforcement began to arrive. Their response was initially cautious, hindered by misinformation and the sheer unpredictability of the situation. But as the scope of the tragedy unfolded, they moved in, their actions marked by bravery amidst the chaos. Parents, alerted by frantic calls and text messages from their children, began to gather at a nearby park, their faces etched with worry. News helicopters circled overhead, broadcasting the unfolding horror to a stunned nation. Inside, Harris and Klebold continued their rampage, their actions marked not by the frenzied panic found elsewhere in the school, but by a chilling calm. Their massacre would last for approximately 49 minutes, ending only when the two turned their weapons on themselves. In a matter of hours, Columbine High School was transformed from a place of learning to a scene of unimaginable horror. What were the immediate and long-term effects of the Columbine Massacre? In the immediate aftermath, the community of Littleton, Colorado was left in shock and mourning. The nation watched in disbelief as the small town was thrust into the spotlight, grappling with the unimaginable tragedy that had unfolded within the walls of Columbine High School. As the news spread, a wave of grief and anger washed over the country, prompting a nationwide conversation about violence in schools. In the days and weeks that followed, vigils were held, tears were shed, and stories of bravery and loss began to emerge. The community came together in a remarkable show of resilience and unity, turning to one another for support during an unimaginably difficult time. Across the nation there was a shared sense of sorrow, but also a determination to prevent such a tragedy from happening again. The long-term effects of the massacre were far-reaching. In the wake of the incident, schools across America implemented stringent security measures. Metal detectors, surveillance cameras, and lockdown drills became commonplace, a stark reminder of the threats facing our educational institutions. The massacre also reignited the national debate on gun control, sparking impassioned discussions about the accessibility of firearms and the need for stricter regulations. Despite the polarizing nature of these debates, they represented an important dialogue about safety and responsibility in our society. Additionally, the survivors of the massacre were left to navigate the trauma and loss they experienced. For many, the road to recovery was long and arduous, marked by physical wounds and psychological scars. Their stories serve as a poignant reminder of the human cost of such tragedies. In the wake of the massacre, America was left to grapple with the reality of school shootings, sparking debates and changes that continue to this day. The Columbine Massacre was a turning point, a moment that forced us to confront the unthinkable and consider how we can work to prevent such tragedies in the future. What is the legacy of the Columbine High School Massacre? This question brings us to the heart of the matter. The lasting impact of that chilling day on the psyche of America and the world at large. The Columbine High School Massacre, a tragic event etched in our collective memory, has left an indelible imprint on public opinion about school shootings and has been a haunting influence on several subsequent events. Following the massacre, there was an immediate shift in the public's perception of school safety. Schools were no longer seen as safe havens, but potential targets for such horrifying acts. This paradigm shift led to a surge in the implementation of school safety measures, including zero-tolerance policies, surveillance systems, and active shooter drills. The massacre also gave rise to a new form of activism. Survivors, victims' families, and ordinary citizens began to rally for stricter gun control laws, igniting a nationwide conversation that continues to this day. The voices of those affected by the tragedy at Columbine resonate in the ongoing debates over Second Amendment rights and the urgent need for gun control reform. Moreover, the Columbine tragedy has had a profound influence on subsequent school shootings. Many attackers in later incidents have cited the Columbine Massacre as an inspiration, a chilling testament to the event's enduring legacy. But the legacy of Columbine is not all about fear and tragedy. Amid the heartbreak, there's a story of resilience and strength. The survivors of the massacre have shown remarkable fortitude, turning their pain into a force for change. Many have become vocal advocates for mental health awareness and gun control, transforming their personal tragedies into a mission to prevent such events from happening again. And so, we remember the lives lost, the lives forever changed, and the heroes who emerged from the ashes. We remember Columbine not just as a symbol of America's struggle with gun violence, but also as a testament to human resilience in the face of unimaginable horror. The Columbine High School Massacre, a tragic event that changed America forever, serves as a stark reminder of the devastating impact of gun violence and the urgent need for solutions. Thank you for joining us on this detailed analysis of the Columbine High School Massacre. Your support and engagement make it possible for us to delve into these pivotal moments in history. We hope that through our content we can contribute to the important conversations that continue to shape our world today. If you value our work and want to see more, consider joining our Patreon page. Your support will help us continue to produce high-quality content, and you'll also gain access to exclusive behind-the-scenes footage, early access to new videos, and more. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends to help us reach more people. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the significant events that have shaped our world. Until next time, stay curious and keep learning.